Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
May I proceed, Ron?
Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell both your first name and your last name?
Sure. My name's Karina Kolokithas. It's Karina. Last name Kolokithas. Kolokithas.
That's almost as bad as your name.
It's long.
In what town do you live, ma'am?
I live in Canton.
How long have you lived there?
We've lived there for 22 years.
Where did you grow up?
So I initially grew up in Randolph, and then we moved to Braintree, and I finished my last 3 years of high school and stayed there till I was married.
And where did you go to school after high school?
So after high school, I went to Northeastern University. I did the pharmacy program there.
And what is your profession?
I'm a pharmacist.
How long have you worked as a pharmacist?
So total years is about 30 years as a pharmacist, but I have been at my current job for about 24 years.
Are you married?
I am married.
To whom?
His name is Nicholas Kolokithas.
How long have you been married for?
24 years.
Do you have children?
I have 2 children.
And without giving us their names, can you tell us if you have boys or girls and what their ages are?
So I have 2 girls. One is 19 and one is 17.
Have you raised your children in Canton?
Yes, I have.
Do your children play sports, or have they played sports in Canton?
I have both girls played sports in Canton. One actively is playing sports there, and one is in college, so she's not playing sports.
Understood. What sports have your girls played?
So they primarily played basketball, and my youngest plays lacrosse as well.
From raising your children in Canton and attending their sporting events, I'm assuming, have you met other parents with children on your daughter's teams?
Yes, I have.
Specifically, did you come to know Jennifer and Matthew McCabe?
Yes, I have.
And is that the way that you came to know them?
Correct. Typically, that's how we came to become friends with people, through the sports.
Now, prior to January 28th of 2022, how long had you known Jennifer McCabe specifically?
I would say about 10 years or so.
And during that time, what was the nature of your relationship with Jennifer McCabe?
So we were just friends through the kids. Multiple kids did different sports. They played on different sports teams, so we were friends through that.
And how often, or if at all, did you socialize with her and or her husband?
So typically, sometimes if the kids had play dates, it was mostly my youngest daughter, to be honest. So my youngest daughter and one of her daughters were good friends and played on similar sporting teams. So they would have play dates and stuff like that. So sometimes we'd see them after a game, or if they had a play date or something like that.
And I'm sorry, it's a little loud with the fan. If the last part of your answer, if I didn't hear it, I'm thinking the jurors might not have heard that. You said it was mostly after games?
After sporting, after play dates or sports and stuff like that.
I see. And would there be times where, after a game you go out for pizza, that type of thing?
Yeah, you go out for pizza, or the girls would be like, "Hey, Mom, can we have a play date? Can a couple of the girls, come over to the house and
Okay.
do stuff
Now,
like that?"
Prior to January 28th of 2022, did you know John O'Keefe?
So I knew John O'Keefe same way. His niece and my younger daughter were good friends, are good friends. So same thing. We knew him through the sports as well. My husband coached his niece in a couple teams, and they also played soccer together. So that's how we knew John.
And do you remember how long you would have known him for before January 28th of 2022?
I would say about 9 years or so.
And what was the nature of that relationship?
Friendly. Didn't go out with him, but we were friends. We saw him all the time. He would, take my younger daughter with him. We just saw him all the time. So weekly, I would say.
Sure. What about Karen Reed? Did you know Karen Reed prior to January 28th of 2022?
So same thing, met Karen through John. And I believe the first time I met her was at Jennifer McCabe's house sometime in 2020.
2020?
Correct.
So this would have been during the pandemic?
Correct.
And do you see Karen in the courtroom today?
I do.
Would you please point her out and describe what she's wearing?
She is wearing a blue suit at the table with her lawyers.
Okay. May the record reflect that the witnesses identified Ms. Reed?
Okay.
Now, prior to January 28th of 2022, how often would you have seen or interacted with Karen Reed in any capacity, if you know?
So Karen sometimes would come to watch games of John's niece. So I would see her there, and we just casually talk.
And what was the nature of your relationship with her prior to January 28th of 2022?
We were friendly.
All right. Now, directing your attention to January 28th of 2022, do you recall that being a Friday?
Correct.
What did you do that day?
So that day I worked.
As a pharmacist?
Correct.
Do you recall what your hours were?
Approximately, I would say 8 to 4 or 4:30 that day.
What plans did you have after work?
So after work, my plans were to go to the Canton High basketball game to watch my daughter play.
And what plans came up for before the game that night?
So before the game, before I left work, there was a text that went around saying that some of the parents were going to meet at the Canton Junction before the game, and if anybody wanted to stop by and grab a bite to eat.
And what is the Canton Junction?
So it used to be like a little pub/restaurant in Canton.
Did you go to the Canton Junction?
So I went home first because I had a bag I had to switch out of because we have to have plastic clear bags at work. So anyway, so I went home, and then after that, I stopped at the Canton Junction.
Okay. And did you go alone or with someone?
So I went by myself.
And when you got there, did you see people that you knew?
Correct. So I walked in, and I there was a bunch of parents there from the varsity teams, the varsity team.
And, excuse me, was either John O'Keefe or Karen Reed there?
They were not there.
What about Jennifer McCabe and or Matthew McCabe, her husband?
I believe Matthew McCabe was there. I don't believe Jennifer went to the Canton Junction.
Now, how long were you at the Canton Junction for?
I would say less than an hour.
Do you recall about what time it was that you would have been leaving there?
I'm not really sure. The game started at 6:30, so before 6:30.
All right. And when you left the Canton Junction, where did you go?
I went to Canton High School to watch the game.
And in the gymnasium, with whom did you sit to watch your daughter's basketball game?
I'm not sure who I sat with, but it would have been those parents from the varsity team, whoever was there and wherever there was a spot.
Was it generally a custom that the parents of all the kids on the team would kind of congregate together in the stands?
Correct.
Do you recall what time the basketball game ended?
I believe the game ended around 8:30.
Where did you go after the basketball game?
So after the game ended, I went down and waited on the court for my daughter to come out of the locker room, greeted her, the players, and then I said to everybody, I'm going home.
Okay. And you did go home?
Correct. I went home after the game.
And having now made it home, what were your plans that night?
So my plans were to stay home. I was tired. I worked all day, watched the game. I was pretty much done with the day. So my plans were to stay home.
At some point, did those plans wind up changing?
So then I started getting text messages from my husband saying, you should come out. We're going to go to the Waterfall. And I said, no, I'm not coming.
And what is the Waterfall?
So that's a restaurant that has a bar, and it's on in Canton on Washington Street.
Okay, so you've given your husband the stiff arm, so
Correct.
to speak, right? You're
Correct.
not going.
Not going.
So what happens?
So then he keeps on texting me. He's like, I'm at the Waterfall. You should really come. It's fun. There's a band. And I was like, really? Like, I don't want to go. And then my kids got involved with the conversation.
And how did that affect your decision?
So they started saying to me, Mom, you never go out. You never do anything. You know, Dad's by himself. Just go. Keep him company while he eats. So I reluctantly went.
All right, so you were guilted into it.
Guilted 100% into it.
All right, so where did you go?
So then I went to the Waterfall.
Do you recall about what time it was that you got to the Waterfall Bar and Grill?
I believe I got there approximately 9:30 or so.
And when you first arrived there, who was there, if anyone, that you recognized?
So my husband was there, and then I recognized Jennifer and Matt McCabe.
And what happened after you got there?
So after I got there, I walked in, and I said to my husband, I'm like, where's everybody from the basketball team? And he said, I don't know. They all sort of split up. He said, don't worry. Just hang out here. I already ordered a sandwich, so just hang out with me while I eat, and then we'll go.
And were you introduced to anyone?
Yeah, so then Jennifer McCabe started introducing me to all her family, so I got to meet a lot of them. It was fun. It was a good time.
And do you recall specifically who you met?
So I think I believe I met. Well, she sort of just introduced me to whoever was at the table. So I'm not sure 100%, but just like the niece, her sister, her brother-in-law, like people like that.
All right, the Albert family?
Correct.
And when you're being introduced to a bunch of people at once, it can be tough to keep everybody's names straight at the time?
Right, it's kind of overwhelming. There was a lot of Jen's family.
Now, what were you drinking that night?
So that night I drank water.
And the whole time you were at the Waterfall, did you drink anything else except for water?
I only drank water that night.
Now, was there a point when you were going to leave the Waterfall before they closed up for the night?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. You wound up leaving at a certain time, correct?
I never left.
Well, you left because you're in court today. You're not still at the Waterfall.
Okay, correct.
So what I'm trying to get at is, at some point you left the Waterfall, but was there a point before that where you were planning to go?
Correct.
Tell us about that.
No,
So my husband.
I don't think he's so much a Hank fan. I think he's last time we spoke, he was on the belief that Karen was guilty. But I'm wondering if maybe since we spoke last, his attitude may have, his opinion may have slightly altered given what's come to light. As a lawyer, I think he's very knowledgeable, but he uses that power for evil and not good.
Had eaten, and I said, you know what, I think I'm going to get going. And I was about to get going, and then John and Karen walked in.
Okay. And when you say John and Karen, you're referring to?
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
And why did that change your plans?
I was excited to see them. I liked Karen, so as soon as I saw her walk in, I was like, hey, I'm going to stay. I want to talk to her.
I've got it.
What did you notice about John O'Keefe's mood when he arrived that night?
So John was very happy. His niece had just gotten into a private school called Bishop Vian, and that was like the first thing he was talking about. He was elated that she got in, and he was telling everybody about that.
And thereafter, how much interaction did you have with John and or Karen?
Karen and I probably spent the entire night talking. Maybe give or take some time that we didn't, but the majority of the time Karen and I were speaking together.
And if you had to estimate, how long a conversation did you have with Karen?
Maybe an hour, like 40, 50 minutes out of the, like if we spent like an hour together, perhaps we spoke 50 minutes of those. that hour.
And
Stream
without
links
telling
in
us
chat.
The content of the
If
conversation.
anyone
what
wants
was
to
the
jump
subject
in.
matter, if you remember?
So Karen was also, she mentioned being excited about Kaylee getting into Bishop Fian.
Absolutely.
And-
would kill his own mother.
Well,
yeah,
when I first saw her,
in the
she
case.
first started talking about my daughter. So I saw her, she came in, she greeted me.
And I said that from the very beginning, didn't I? That he's dirty and he will take no prisoners. It's win at all costs. I have to charge my earbuds. Oh, okay, cool. Yes, now the stream link is in chat if anyone would like to join us on stage. Knock yourselves out.
And when we did start talking, she just started talking about my daughter and how much she really loved my daughter's relationship with John's niece.
Okay. And while you were having this conversation with Karen, was it an easy conversation back and forth?
Very easy.
Where were you located within the waterfall while you were having this conversation?
We were at a I don't remember where we were talking. We were sitting down talking at a table.
And how close did you get to her when you were speaking with her?
In order for someone to hear you, because of the band being so loud, we were probably a couple feet from each other.
And in what direction were you facing when you were speaking to her?
This is 27.
And I'm talking in relation to Karen.
I don't remember how, like if she was next to me at this point. She could have been next to me at this point.
All right. And your face would have been facing where?
At her.
Okay. That actually was a question. I'm sorry. This is kind of a silly word talk, but I have to ask the questions this way.
We were
and
face to face.
There you go. All right. So in other words, Karen was also facing you when she was speaking to you?
Correct.
Did you notice what Karen was drinking?
So she was drinking a drink it was a clear liquid out of a clear glass, and I assumed it to be alcohol of some sort, but I'm not sure.
And while you were talking with her, can you describe, was the conversation coherent?
Very coherent.
Was she making sense?
She was.
Was she engaged in the conversation?
She was.
And did you make any observations regarding her sobriety?
She seemed fine to me.
And you're a pharmacist, correct?
I am a
And
pharmacist.
you were that night.
I was that night.
How much interaction did you see that Karen had with John O'Keefe?
They had some interaction.
And was there one specific interaction that stands out in your mind, then and today? And I'm talking about a physical interaction.
When they hugged at one point.
Okay. And did John come over to Karen at one point and do something?
He did.
What did he do?
So John went over to Karen and he gave her a kiss on the forehead.
Okay. And that kiss on the forehead, why did that stand out to you?
So honestly, I'd never seen something like that before, a boyfriend do to a girlfriend in public. Never saw that. So it just stood out to me. I was like, wow, that's the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
Can we queue up Exhibit 22, Mr. Wilk? I'd like to go to approximately 11:36 and 41 seconds. And if we can, well, first of all, have you seen that video before me?
I have.
Do you recognize what Exhibit 22 depicts?
It shows the waterfall.
And is that consistent with what it looked like when you were there that night?
Correct.
And you previously identified that as being a fair and accurate video of that night?
I do.
If we could zoom in, well, first of all, again, let me try and lay a foundation. Where would you be, if you recall, at the waterfall within that video? To the right, to the left?
I'm in the right, in a black top, sitting on a chair.
Okay, could we zoom in on that area, Mr. Wilk? Okay, we've zoomed in. Do you see yourself?
I do.
And where are you seated?
So there's a white jacket on the back of a chair. That's me.
And do you see anybody else in that video that you now recognize?
I see Brian Higgins.
Okay. And when you say Brian Higgins, is that somebody that you had known prior to that night?
I did not know Brian.
He was one of the people you were interested in. You since have learned put the face to the body, or I'm sorry, I should say the name to the body, or the name to the face.
Correct.
All right.
Whoopsie.
And where do you see Brian Higgins?
He has like an emblem on the back of like a sweatshirt.
All right, so his back is to the camera?
Correct.
And we have not located that pointer. Thank you, sir. May I approach the-
Yes.
Now, if you can, ma'am, would you please use that pointer to show where you are first?
That's me.
Okay. And Brian Higgins?
That's him.
All right. Do you recognize, at this point in the video, do you recognize anybody else?
Not right now.
Okay. If we could start to play it, Mr. Wood. And stop for a second. I would ask you, as soon as you recognize somebody else, if you speak up and tell us to stop, and we'll pause.
Okay. So right there is Karen's head.
Okay. Is that the back of Karen's head, or?
Correct. So that's the back of her head.
All right.
And
And
then
you're, by the way, just so the record's clear, over Mr. Higgins' shoulder, there appears to be a face looking forward on the right shoulder. You see that, right?
Correct.
You're not referring to that. You're referring to the long hair that's in back of that face.
yeah, could
correct?
I point to it
Sure.
again? Okay. So I'm referring to that head right there.
Understood. Okay, and I think you had said something else.
And then that right there is John O'Keefe with the hat.
Okay, there's a ball cap.
Correct.
And on the video, as we're looking at it, it's to the right, up the top, it's to the right of the PM chyron there.
Right
up
to the
top
right.
of the screen.
Correct, sorry.
If we can continue to play. Stop. What do you see?
So I see John giving Karen a kiss on the forehead.
Is that what you saw that night?
I did. I was looking right at them when it happened.
You were facing them.
I was facing them.
And what about Mr. Higgins? Where was he facing?
It appears that he's facing them as well.
That happened right in front of him.
That's what it looks like.
If we can play. Sorry. Okay, you can stop and we can take that down. Now, that night, did you have any information about the nature of Karen Reed's previous interactions with Brian Higgins?
None whatsoever.
Okay. How long did you stay at the Waterfall? Or if you recall about what time you got ready to leave?
I believe things wrapped up around midnight.
And with whom were you leaving around midnight?
So my husband and Matt McCabe stayed behind. They were helping the band clean up and stuff. So it was myself, Jennifer McCabe, and Karen Reed that walked out together.
Okay. And you've previously seen video footage of the end of the night with yourself, Karen, and Jennifer McCabe sort of in a grouping?
Correct.
I agree.
And excuse me, I'm sorry that I
Never seen anyone kiss in public. What the fuck?
Did you see on that same video at the same time, there's a grouping in another area of the bar at the same time?
Correct.
And do you recall who was in that grouping?
I believe it was Chris Albert, Brian Albert, and Brian Higgins.
Okay. Could we now publish again Exhibit 22? And I'd like from the approximate start time of 11:57 and 42 seconds.
I got some really good new additions to my my media kit. This one I made myself.
Wrong at school is how great Marcia is at this, or how wonderful Marcia did that.
Arca, arca, arca.
Narrated by moi. And were you here with this one?
I'm going to pause here and say, well, yes, you fucking rock the defense rests.
And if we could hit play, Mr. Wolf. Oh,
We're up market now.
Could you zoom in, please, on the right portion of that video, the upper right? We'll start with that. Okay.
Oh, I'll slow this down.
So this is the start of this clip.
Only fast forward.
11:57 and 38. Do you see anybody in that clip that you recognize?
Yes, so I am
There we go.
the person with the jacket with the fur around the hood,
Ah.
and Karen Reed is the other woman that I'm talking to.
All right. We can play that, Mr. Wolf?
On here.
And right now, do you recognize anybody else in the background of that?
So to the right in the plaid shirt is my husband, Nicholas.
Okay. What about over your left shoulder?
So over my left shoulder is John O'Keefe.
And does that appear to be his back?
Correct.
Okay. Can you play? And he was stop for a second. He was in your line of vision at that point, correct?
Correct.
What does he appear to be doing?
He appears to be like paying a tab or something like that, or maybe getting a drink. I'm not sure.
Okay. And do you see him looking in a particular direction right now?
He looks to be looking over his left.
Continue to play. Oh, if we could pause for a second. I neglected to ask you to point out with the pointer. We
Oh,
have
I'm
it now.
sorry.
We might as
Okay.
well use it.
Okay.
If you could point to yourself first.
Okay. So that's me.
All right. Karen
That's Karen.
and John O'Keefe.
That's John.
Okay. Continue to play, Mr. Wolf. Stop. Back up just a sec. Oh. Oh. I'll tell you when to start. Yep. Play. Stop. Okay. Do you see what direction John O'Keefe is facing now?
He's looking to the left.
Okay. Keep going. Keep going. Stop. What direction is he facing now?
To the left.
And what is over to the left?
I believe that's where the other group of men are located, perhaps.
Okay. Keep playing. And I'd like to run this to 11:58:25. Stop. At this point, his whole body is turned to the left, correct?
Correct.
And he appears to be facing where the other group of men were?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
He appears to be facing in the direction of where the other group of men were.
Correct.
Continue to play, all through until 11:58:25. Okay, that's perfect. Now, keeping the video up, I'd like to now scroll over to the left side of the screen, and we're going to start that at 11:57:42, the same approximate time we started the previous discussion. Stop. Okay. You've previously described the other three men. Are you able to identify them on this video now in this still frame clip?
I believe I am
Okay.
able.
And who do you see?
I see Chris Albert, Brian Higgins, and Brian Albert.
And which one is which?
Chris Albert is the one that grabbed Brian Higgins' arm, and Brian Albert is with his back towards us.
Okay, now I'll ask you to use the pointer and point to Chris Albert, please.
That's Chris Albert.
On the right.
Yep.
Where's Brian Higgins?
That's Brian Higgins.
In the middle?
Yeah, in the middle. And that's Brian Albert,
Okay.
I believe.
And with regard to Brian Higgins, which direction is he facing?
He's facing the left.
He's facing to the left?
I mean, I'm sorry, he's facing to the right.
Okay. And the direction that he's facing in, who's over there?
Sustained.
What is over there? Is that the direction of the bar?
Sustained.
Okay. Continue to play, please. Stop. Did you see he grabbed his arm a second time?
Correct.
And Brian Higgins is facing in which direction this time?
He's facing the bar area.
Continue to play, please. Okay. You noticed some motion that Brian Higgins made?
He waved his
Back it
arm.
up for a second, Mr. Wolf, please. Stop. Did you see a motion that,
He put his left arm up.
okay? Appeared to be summoning somebody?
Sustained.
Continue to play. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Continue to play. I'll bear that in mind.
I'd love to hear the audio of that.
Okay, we can stop there. Ms. Kolokithas, did you see how many times Brian Higgins motioned with his arm?
Sustained. Kamala versus please, Mr.
Understood, understood. Now, prior to this night, have you known or been aware of Chris Albert?
Just knew him from seeing him at D&E Pizza.
Okay, and you say you've seen him at D&E Pizza in what capacity?
I think he's the owner there at D&E Pizza, and we've gotten pizza there before.
And you've been in that establishment before?
Correct.
And with regard to Brian Albert, have you had any interaction with him, either that night or before?
So that night, I was introduced to him, and I think I even spoke to him a little bit there, and then maybe saw him like a basketball game. I don't remember him really prior to that night.
Okay. Now, I'd like to play the portion of the video where you are then leaving and ask you some questions about that. Yes, I think we can zoom out and perhaps hit play, Mr. Wolk, at this point. And pause for a sec. If you could use the pointer and just point out again where you are at this point.
That is me.
All right. And are you able to see Karen at that point?
She's right there.
Okay. And what about Jen McCabe? Are you able to see her at that point?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Continue to play, please. And stop for a sec. I should have asked you, if you do see Jennifer McCabe enter the picture, could you alert us?
Okay.
Continue to play. When you can turn the lights back on. When you were leaving the establishment, whom did you leave with?
So again, it was myself, Jennifer McCabe, and Karen.
Did anything unusual occur when you were leaving?
So as we were leaving, Jen went over to Karen, kind of put her arm around her, and she started saying, "You're coming with me, you're coming with me." And Karen's like, "Huh? Like, what? Like, where are we going?" And
I'm going to sustain the objection.
The first part of that answer, the putting her arm around her, "You're coming with me," why did that stand out in your memory?
just because I was there too, and it just was strange. It was just like, "You're coming with me." Like, it was just something that stood out to me.
And you weren't included.
I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, it was just stood out, you know? Yeah.
Did Karen go with Jen McCabe?
No, she did not.
What did you see her do?
So then, out of the clear blue, thinking that Karen was going to go with Jen, I see Karen with John.
And where did you see Karen with John?
I saw them just I was parked across Washington Street, across from the restaurant, and I just saw Karen and John like walking down towards what used to be Amber Road, a place.
It used to be Amber Road?
It used to be Amber Road, yeah.
Is that a Amber Road cafe?
Correct. It was like it was like a little cafe shop.
And did you figure out why they were walking in that direction?
That's where I think Karen had parked her car.
Did you have any concerns about Karen being able to drive that night?
I had talked to her all night, and I did not notice anything strange about her. Like, I didn't think anything of it.
And once you parted ways, where did you go?
I went in my car.
And what was your last image of seeing Karen and John that night?
It was just them walking towards the car.
If I may have a moment, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Brennan?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Was your last image of Karen and John, both of them walking to the car and Karen walking to the driver's side door of that car?
Correct.
That night it was a celebratory mood?
Correct.
Everybody was getting along fine?
Yes, we were. Yes.
You were speaking to the defendant for some time?
Most of the time, correct.
You saw her at points hugging Jen McCabe?
Correct.
You knew John?
I did.
He was a kind man?
Very kind.
Generous?
Very generous.
Thoughtful?
Very thoughtful.
Soft-spoken?
Yes.
That night was particularly different. He was extraordinarily proud and happy, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And you could see him emote about his accomplishment that his daughter got into private school.
Correct.
Did you talk to John that night?
I did.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
No further questions.
All right, Ms. Cole.
I get to open up my I stream and share my Temu page. They get to pick the topic of whatever area they want to go into to search. And we go through all the items and they get to spend it. It's hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. The last one I had, it's not here. We bought some funny shit. I've got a cap that says, my yeast infection itches. And I love it. I wear it all the time. I bought a wind sheeter or like a hoodie that's like half of it is just covered in blood splatter. And it just says, problem solved. I've got a keyring thingy that says, don't be a cunt cake. It was hysterical. It's really, really, really funny.
Kolokithas, you are also.
Okay, thank you.
Kolokithas.
So why don't I see counsel regarding scheduling?
Oh, really?
It's in your sight. Like and subscribe. Oh, don't be shy.
Oh, I still got a comment up there.
Just actually, Mr.
Hot
Brennan,
girl
just
shit.
one question.
Hmm. You can imagine where you can go and be led on one of those. And I swear to God, it was Elizabeth, Teresia, and myself on this particular one, and our sides were aching.
Lawyers about scheduling. I'm actually going to send you back to the room and bring you back. We will definitely be out of here by 1 o'clock, so a short, if they could just, or Paul, they could just go back for you in 10 minutes and we'll bring you right back.
All rise for the court, please.
So it's an early start. Okay, well, we can skip that because I'm...
We are ahead of schedule. I understand tomorrow's supposed to be very hot. Court officers are concerned about how we're going to keep the fans and air conditioners going and be allowed to hear the witnesses. I've talked to the lawyers. Everybody's in agreement that because we're ahead of schedule, we give you tomorrow off. All right, so we won't be in session tomorrow. We will be in session Friday all day. So those same reminders, please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, and read anything about this case,
so there's nothing on.
Let us know, and be careful with your social media use. We'll see you on Friday. Right.
All right.
Oops. I'm sure there was a stream on today. Maybe I was seeing things. Let me look.
Is there anything anybody needs to raise with me at this point?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
There is one outstanding motion. It's a motion for reconsideration.
It's denied. Okay. I just saw that was the one that was still outstanding. Okay. Thank you all. We'll see you Friday morning.
She's a fucker. Absolute fucker. What even was the motion? I didn't even hear what.
Well, we'll see you Friday.
For Elizabeth said.
Is there anything anybody needs to raise with me at this point?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
There is one outstanding motion. It's a motion for reconsideration.
It's denied. Okay.
It's
I just saw that was the one that was still outstanding.
Yeah, no, fuck you, it's not. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all. We'll see you Friday morning.
Can't of a thing. Sorry. Said that out loud, but she is. So, where was I? Court TV. I'm pretty sure there was a stream on. Shag bash whoop. Oh, okay. So it's 7 p.m. my time. Oh, okay. So it'll be 9 a.m. tomorrow then. Woo! Woo! Oh, I heard probably, but nothing computed. Sorry. Sorry. Now I've got to play Simi's song. Hang on. Because I forgot last time. And where is it? Where is it? Come on. There we go. That one. You can go over there and and I want to share this instead. No, thank you. I don't want to sign up for any more. And let's boost it so that we can all hear it. Oh. Fuck, where'd it go? Okay, there it is. Ready, steady, go.
never knowing I could take a seat. Happened up alive one day, lurked and learned, decided to stay.
2:30.
True crime genre is my jam. Never stop learning, that's who I am. Like-minded people gather in the chat, brainstorm, speculate, that's where it's at. True crime genre is my jam. Never stop learning, that's who I am. Camp Shorty, Murder Church, Grizzly and Josh, Sergeant Joe Duty, wrong police off the cuff. I found my people, I can't get enough. Wandering the YouTube streets, never knowing I could take a seat. Happened up alive one day, lurked and learned, decided to stay. True crime genre is my jam. Never stop learning, that's who I am. Like-minded people gather in the chat, brainstorm, speculate, that's where it's at. True crime genre is my jam. Never stop learning, that's who I am. True crime genre is my jam. Never stop learning, that's who I am. Camp Shorty, Murder Church, Grizzly and Josh, Sergeant Joe Duty, wrong police off the cuff. I found my people, I can't get enough.
It's been 12 months since acquittal, and so much has passed us by. Such a scampering with evidence, and some blatant flat-out lies. There's a special new press sector, and Hank Breeden is his name. He is a dirty Boston lawyer, and his arguments are lame. He's tried to squash all of our experts, as he has no case to claim. He should have won an Oscar medal to convince the court he's sane. He can lie without a conscience and keep that smirk upon his face. I bet he wears those silky undies, the ones with that G-made lace. And just Beverly Academy is so biased for the state. Is waiting through 100 motions in a rush to seal my fate. So you can bring your Massachusetts, cause we all ain't got nothing. We all know that the truth is my car is not the thing John hit. There's a new pandemic in town, and it's taking creators down a rabbit hole of corruption in Massachusetts town. It strikes at the heart of bloggers, no matter podcaster or receiver. It can strike you like a Lexus, then you've got Karen Red River fever. While all the symptoms are quite acute, and you'll ask things differently by far, you will utter what is anything, or you'll be screaming outside back. You smash your sound 3 times while making butt dials as well. No matter how hard you try to fight it, you just cannot ring that bell. So once you finally say I'll allow it, like Auntie built the darn diva, you'll find yourself behind that buffer zone, 'cause you got Karen Red River fever.
Yes, I do like that one. It's fun. Like it a lot. Except AI picks up the way you spell read as red. So it's a Karen Red River Fever. I've got so many. I did one for Sarah Boone, Ty Tucker, what's her name? Chloe Driver. Who else? Sure for. I did the first one, the first trial for Johnny O'Keefe. Yeah, and some theme songs for a few creators as well as myself. All right, now I just put into AI the question on everyone's lips. If the jury was presented with the evidence so far, now I've got to find where that one. What would the outcome be? Shall we have a look? Okay. Now, so this is the database that I've got, and this is what the answer is. Let me just zoom. Oh, it helps if I reduce myself too. Can you read that okay? I can't get rid of that bottom bit. Go away. What if I... 1 second. What if I... No. Oh yeah, it might work. Fuck. 1. Keeps going off the screen. Stupid thing. Can't see it unless I put a comment up. Stupid thing. All right. So, oh, no, that's the last question. Where are we? Okay. Analysis of the second trial, potential jury outcomes. Oh, I think I've zoomed it too big now. It's gone off the edge of the paper. Okay, that's better. All right. I need to preface this analysis by noting that predicting jury outcomes is highly speculative. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I only have partial information about the second trial. Well, it's not finished yet. But it is up to date as of yesterday's trial. I haven't done today's because the transcript's not out yet. Right, so key evidence that may influence the jury. Prosecution's strongest evidence. The physical evidence on the vehicle. The damage to Karen Reid's Lexus taillight appears to be a central piece of physical evidence with a DNA. DNA and hair? No, sorry, you got that wrong. It's a hair. One singular ninja hair stuck on one rear tailgate in a blizzard. Even when the snow melted over it and washed down the back of the car, and Karen's brother cleared it all off so that he could see out the window to drive her car to the hospital. Karen reads statements. Apparently, multiple witnesses testified to Reed allegedly saying, "I hit him." That's Chinese whispers that was converted into bullshit. Expert testimony. Dr. Welcher, really? Who's taking him seriously? Not me. And other prosecution experts have testified about collision data that they believe is consistent with a vehicle strike. Yeah, well, perhaps if they actually did a proper forensic testing of the vehicle strike with a crash test dummy and sensors and data points and stuff on both, instead of creating blue painted elbow, that may hold some weight to it, but no. DNA evidence. The absence of dog DNA on O'Keefe's clothing. Well, that too was done months and months later, and it was done by Proctor, so he could have swabbed his asshole for all we know. Just saying, putting that out there. Dr. Russell's testimony. Oh, so this is the defence's strongest. Defense expert's opinion that the wounds on John O'Keefe's arm are consistent with dog bites rather than a car collision. Sure, absolutely. They certainly. And it may not even been Chloe. My theory is that he could have been, put out on the lawn, and what is it? Rizio's up there. Is it? Did you say coyotes? I could have just tried to grab him and got disturbed and run off. Who fucking knows? But a tail light at that speed would cause massive injuries to his arm. It'd be in shreds and broken. Arguments about investigative flaws, including problems with the handling of evidence and delayed testing. Yep. My theory, I don't know if you've heard it, Kathy, is that, I'm not sure if you're aware, but in Massachusetts, they have what's called the Declaration of Rights. And it's specific to Massachusetts. And it's in the first trial, they didn't bring it up, and they didn't even have him as a witness. But Brian Albert is the home where Karen and John were invited for after party drinks. And Brian Albert was a Boston police officer, and a very famous one because he was on that TV show Boston's Finest or something like that, Boston Legal, or whatever it was. He played in that. So he was very well known in the community. So, yeah, John O'Keefe's body was found on his lawn. Now, at the very beginning, it was established that the Canton Police Department had a conflict of interest in this case. So the case was turned over to the state troopers. And the state trooper that had 10 minutes left on his shift when it got called in just happened to be a family friend of the Alberts, Brian Albert. So, I don't know if you saw, but there was like multiple ambulances and fire trucks and police vehicles out the front of this Boston police officer's home, and he didn't come out of the house. He didn't. Oh no, I slept right through it. Pigs ring, you fucking slept through it, and it bothered me. It's bothered me from the start of the first trial. There had to be a reason for him to stay indoors. He's a detective. He's a sticky nose. It's his property. He would want to know what's going on out there. And it just did not sit right at all. So I did some digging, and I found this Declaration of Rights, and it has what's called the Article 14. You're welcome to look it up. And Article 14 pertains specifically to property owners and criminal activity on their property, what their rights are. And apparently it adds an additional layer on top of the Fourth Amendment with regards to their protection. So if the owner does not come out of the house, and if they came out of the house, they're inserting themselves themselves into that scene. So then they are, the police have the right to question them, search their house, do whatever. If they don't come out of their house, that all goes away. If they want to question him or search the house, they have to go through the full procedure of establishing probable cause and applying for search warrants, whatnot. That bought him time. Yeah, because he wasn't beaten, but something happened. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was an accident and they shit themselves and didn't know what to do. But other than that, they kept him in the basement. And the basement it was one of those old, the basement was set up like a gymnasium. And it had the old barn doors that sort of open up, so it lays 45-degree angle from the house to the yard and open up. So you go directly out into the yard. And it was like 3 foot from the side fence, which was 3 foot from the flagpole where John's body was found. Okay. And that Ford Edge was parked there whilst they carried the body out and placed him there with his phone underneath him. So I only believe he was out there for a few hours because it takes at least or about 3 hours for frostbite to start to set in, and there was no evidence of that. So that's a massive issue because that shows that it was strategic from the beginning, from the absolute onset. So you go from there. So Proctor does not even bother, the lead investigator does not even bother to come and search or have a look at the crime scene. He's the lead investigator, the family friend. Not once. And phone call was obviously been made. And so he's instructed to delay as well. So, okay. You think about it. A police officer is dead. Yeah? Brian Albert and Brian Higgins had just travelled all the way to wherever it was. I can't remember what it was. For a funeral of another police officer that had fallen. And they had gone to the Waterfall Bar and Grill for drinks as they returned from this funeral. Now, boys in blue, they stick together. They cover each other's asses. It's a different lifestyle, so to speak. But for him to not even come out of his house, there had to be a reason. They didn't attend the funeral. They showed no remorse or anything whatsoever afterwards. Michael Proctor did not call any crime scene investigation out because, they might find other evidence of foul play from someone else, perhaps. We don't want that. So why would we send the CSI out? Even though the budget for a fucking dead cop is bottomless, yeah? He didn't. Tully delayed the CERT team. Now, I looked up the protocols for the CERT team in Massachusetts. 1 to 2 hours response time. Took them nearly 12. They had to wait for the green light from Tully before they could go and search the crime scene. Now, that just happened to coincide with that being after Proctor returns to the Sally Port with Karen's car. They wouldn't let the CERT team out there until they'd returned. That's why the video timeline was tampered with from the tow truck because they needed to say that, no, we didn't get the car back there till this time. So obviously we couldn't have planted the evidence because the CERT team were already out there. So it's the deliberate lack. It's not a shitty investigation. It is a shitty, they didn't want to investigate anything because they didn't want to find anything else. within the first 8 hours, they had her guilty, they had her car, they had her phone, and the reason that Michael Proctor, he went to see John at the hospital, the reason he determined that it was a vehicular strike was because John only had on one sneaker. I shit you not. It's indicative, apparently, of a vehicle pedestrian strike. Having one shoe knocked off. Now, yes, it's possible, but the research that I looked into, there is nothing. There's no evidence. So, yeah, deliberate lack of investigation bought them all time and allowed them to be able to plan what they needed to do. They only needed time and opportunity, and that was given. So, and I do believe, like the first trial, I nominated 3 people. You can go back and watch it. Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, and Colin Albert. He's got something to do with it for sure, because the only way that you would get those mothers to testify and back this story is if they were protecting a child. Simple as that. Simple as that. It was deliberately terrible because they didn't want to find anything else. They didn't want any other. There was apparently six different DNAs found on the sneaker, and you know how they did the supposed DNA testing and said there was 3 on this, and so 1 was John's, 2 from unknowns. They didn't bother searching who the rest was for. It wasn't a shoddy investigation. It was time. Yeah, that's why there is no evidence. There's nothing to point to anybody else. They didn't even bother searching for anyone else. Simple as that. Now, I don't believe he was beaten purely because of the injuries. They're not consistent with it. He may have copped a light punch just because he had that laceration on his brow. But you remember, those 2 big boys have boxing training. If you'd had even one punch from them, you would have had a massive cut. You would have split your eyebrow straight open. Bare knuckle on that. And those boys, I think something's happened. He's gone down to the basement. The 3 boys were there. One of them's mouthed off. And John has gone to react, and the dog has gone to protect whoever it was. Protect that person or John from attacking that person. Grabbed his arm, maybe got pushed back, hit his head on the concrete, and yeah, that's it. Hey, Bri, how you doing? Bloody, I'm going to have to work out what's happening with this StreamYard. Every time I put up a comment, my screen disappears. I've just put in a question to the AI. If presented with the current evidence so far, what's the likelihood of the outcome? All right. So, chain of custody issues. Arguments about investigative flaws, including problems with the handling of evidence and delayed testing. Alternative explanation. The defence has constructed a narrative suggesting a potential cover-up, focusing on relationships amongst investigators and witnesses. Witness credibility. The defence has challenged the credibility of key prosecution witnesses and investigators. Factors that could lead to either outcome. If the jury finds the physical evidence of the vehicle damage compelling and believes the prosecution's experts who testified about the collision analysis, they may be inclined towards conviction. The alleged statements by Reid, "I hit him," could be particularly damaging if the jury finds these witnesses' accounts credible. Factors favouring acquittal. The jury has reasonable doubts about the investigation's integrity, believes the defence's experts' testimony. Well, no, you don't even have to go any further than that. If they have doubts, that's it. Believe the defence's testimony about the dog bites or questions the chain of custody for key evidence, they may lean towards acquittal. The defence has worked to create doubt about the investigation's thoroughness and objectivity. Yep. The first trial's hung jury suggests this case presents genuine challenges for jurors. The evidence involves complex expert testimony on both sides, potential investigative flaws, and compelling narratives that each have some supporting evidence. All right, possible outcomes. 1, conviction. If jurors find physical evidence, well, that's what we just said. Hung jury. As the first trial, jurors might remain divided. Okay, well, we just read that. Given that the first trial ended with a hung jury, despite substantial evidence presented by both sides, and that many of the same contentious issues appear to be present in the second trial, a divided jury remains a realistic possibility. However, small differences in how evidence is presented, expert testimony, or jury composition could tip the scales in either direction. The outcome will likely depend on how jurors weigh technical expert testimony against witness credibility concerns, and whether they believe the prosecution has met the high standard of proof beyond I don't think they have. I don't believe for a second that they have. And that doesn't mean that's not just a Karen Reid thing. That's across the board. I don't think they've met their burden at all. At all. So there you go. Well, I'm actually quite pleased that it's a short one today, because I probably need the rest. Actually, no, I do need the rest. I went to bed at 5 p.m. yesterday, UDHF, because I had the protection order hearing in the morning, so I wasn't able to sleep in the morning. So by the time I got everything organised, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I jumped into bed, just pulled a blanket over me, and set my alarm for 10. Unfortunately, it was for 10 a.m. and not p.m. And I slept for that 17 hours. Completely. My bladder, oh my Lord. I'm surprised the cats hadn't gnawed off my arms with their breakfast. So, yeah. First thing I did was get onto YouTube and go, I'm sorry. Missed the stream, missed everything. So, oops. So it'll do me well to have another early-ish night. Well, it is early for me. So if you know anyone who is interested in potentially joining me and becoming a co-host for a podcast, let me know. It's generally once a fortnight on a Saturday, 10 a.m. US time. What is it? Eastern Standard Time. Whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah, normally I go to bed. Like, I'll feed the cats, do the dishes, the breakfast, the dishes that I create whilst I'm sitting here, and jump into bed. But because I'd had this court hearing, it was scheduled for 10. The stream I didn't think finished till 7:30, or by the time I got off. So there's no point me going to bed then. And then I realised when I logged on, the feed starts at 10, but it goes to 4, and it says you can be called up at any time during this, so you have to sit backstage. So, yeah, I couldn't get any sleep, and then I had my support worker come in at 3 for a couple of hours. So by the time she left, I jumped into bed, and that's where I ended up. But I've got a chest infection. I'm sure I have. So that doesn't help. Oh, Cassie, you've got. Hang on 1 second. You've got to hear this. What I've done is I suffer from chronic arthritis. So often sitting in this chair for that amount of time really causes me an issue. So my answer to that was to set up my iPad and link into StreamYard from there, and I can stream with audio and visual in there with my legs up and comfortable, take the pressure off my back. I just can't. I'll have to set it up out here and have the share screen running. I can't pause or fast forward or rewind the actual stream feed. I can mute it, I can comment, I can type, I can do whatever I like, I can put messages on screen. I just can't adjust the share screen, which is really, really handy for me to do, be able to do that. But the second time I did it, hang on. Oh God, it was funny. Go back. I want videos. Here we go. Let's just. Oh, hang on. No, I'll share it by here. Present video file. I'm coming. I got to find it. There it is. Okay. So this is the second time I streamed in my bedroom. You know, the funniest thing was when I woke up 2 hours after the stream had ended, there was still, I think, was it Tricia and Udahef in the stream? Still waiting for me. Yeah. It was so funny. So funny. So now I'm mute. Yeah. I bet you haven't got a video of you farting, though, have you? No? No? Popped that cherry a couple of weeks ago. And me thinking that it was the old one cheek sneak because I had noise cancelling earphones on. I had to own it. I could not. I had to. There was no getting away. So I instantly super chatted myself for impromptu or what, something or other. I can't remember what it was. Impromptu sound effects or something like that. And then I made a video. It's like I made a short. I can't remember what I saved it under. Actually, it's under Karen Reid, I think. Yep, that's you might as well fucking own it because there was no hiding it at all, not even close. Where is it? Russell, no. Dress, no. Fuck. God, no. Shorts. I know where it is. It's on my fucking channel. That's where it is. And shorts. Yes. shorts. Okay, so when you have to improvise a drum roll, so to set the stage, it was just as the Cementilli verdict was being read, and Uda Hef came on stage, came into the chat and said, "Oh, the verdict's in, the verdict's in," and we weren't following that. We weren't following that trial, so I said, "Yeah, no worries, you can what? You can." Oh, what the fuck? Stop! Stop! Yes, you can break the news. You can be a spoiler because we're not watching it. And he said, "I feel like I need a drum roll." I went, "Okay, I'll look for one." And so I'm looking for my sound effects, and we get this instead. Let me just boost this if I can. All right, ready, set, go. Drum roll. Hang on, have I got the sound effects? That was sound effect, but it wasn't a drum roll. Drum roll. Hang on, have I got the sound effects? That was sound effect, but it wasn't a drum roll. The funniest thing was a couple of days later, I was in Miss Shorty's stream and the chat turned to the subject of farts. And so Shorty got onto my shorts and played it on hers about half a dozen times. It was fucking hysterical. Hence why we have where is it? I guess
I'm going to pause here and say, well, yes, you fucking rock the defense rest.
And that one.
Let her rip like defense rest.
Yeah. And that's where Simi, that's how I bet Simi, that's where Simi fell in love. Yep. Fucking hysterical. So yes. And you know what? The stupid thing is, I spend hours and hours and hours researching and making sure I'm too OCD, making sure everything's right and that I'm up to date and that the stream's set and blah, 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 blah. And because I'm in Australia, I work night shift. So I've been working this this trial night for, what is it, 6 weeks now or however long it's been, every night. And that was my best performing video last month. And yeah, fart one time. Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm. Ah. It was a shit. I shit you not. So there was no escaping that. And of course, I didn't realize how much everyone heard, given that the microphone is a fair distance away. It's a good one, though. Yep. Well, peoples, we are, yeah, I'm in fartmas. So, excuse me. Oops, now I've lost myself again. Solo. There we go. All right, peoples. I think we'll sign off from here. And then I can have another good sleep. And I can be back. Same time, same place, same bat channel. On the morrow for a full day of court. And I don't think they have many more. I think there's probably 5 or 6 witnesses left to present. It'll all be over by the end of next week. Guaranteed. And hopefully Karen will be a free woman this time next week. Because I don't think that... Oh, Teresia! Stop it. You know what I have to do now? Smack your bum is what I have to do.
Shout out to the person that just gave us a super chat. This community is just the best. Love you all the different.
Now stop it. You're a very naughty girl. You know, I have to play this every time.
Shout out to the person that just gave us a super chat. This community is just the best. Love you all the different.
Thank you. You crack me up. Yeah, it's you've got to acknowledge. You've got to acknowledge. It's part of it. I love you too. I hope you're feeling better too, sweetheart. Yeah. Ty is doing a live again this evening too. If you would like to tune into Truth Behind the Treehouse, he'll be broadcasting from the library Wi-Fi's computers, so he shouldn't be hacked. Oh my lord! Kathy, stop! Stop!
Shout out to the person that just gave us a super chat. This community is just the best. Love you all the different.
All right, I've had enough. I'm going to wipe my ass with you.
Alrighty then. Love yous all. Thank you very, very much. And oh yes, I'm really going now. All right. See you tomorrow. And for fuck's sake, stay away from Hank Brennan, America.
It's been 12 months since I quit, and so much has passed us by. Such as tampering with evidence and some blatant flat-out lies. I bet he wears those silky undies, the ones with that chain made of lace. So you can bring in Massachusetts